This light directly overhead. Good morning, everyone. Oh, I'll fix it. I'll fix it. 1 second. Oh. There we go. I had this light had a light directly overhead, so it made it a little harder to see me, but that's fine. So let's just see what comes up for today, shall we? I got some errands to run today, and I've got some time until I have to go. So I figured, hey, limitations on my time, perfect way to keep this shorter. Also, Chino tried to come back here. I was like, maybe someday, little doggy will be featured in the back, but not today. He's such an interesting dog, and I feel like a lot of people say that about their dogs because dogs are such interesting creatures. They're not all the same, and he's like he's the first dog I've experienced that plays with his food and that has an imagination. Because so yesterday I tried to record him, but then he stopped. Yesterday, so what he'll do is he'll take food from his bowl and then he'll hide it in places and then he'll go find it and eat it. But yesterday he took some food and he'll take the long way. He'll walk all the way around the table to get to his little dog food bowl instead of just walking right up to it. Huh. Page of Swords, Two of Pentacles. And yesterday he was sniffing around it, petting at it, walking around, it was some, I don't know what it was in his world. And then he ate it. I was like, okay. Also, he's not super, some other, or I guess I've only had one other dog, and she was most times I see dogs, not all dogs, but they get really, when they eat, they get kind of territorial or whatever. It's don't come near my food, but he don't care. You can have this mess. I don't even like it. I smell what y'all eat, and y'all food smell better than this. Y'all holding out on me. Anyway, he's been an interesting pet to get to know. There's that father of cubs. Because, I don't know, it's he doesn't. Any other time I pet a dog, their tails wag and they're into it, but he's just not. But there's a tower with the Nine of Swords. And so that's something that, Ace of Swords or Ace of Cups with the tower, that in the past few months I've been training him, question mark, on just to be pet, and the way he expresses, and he's still young, he just turned 2. He's a Cancer. The Magician in the Tower is through biting and playing, right? And he's like, well, this is how I express affection. And I'm like, I ain't trying to get bit. And I don't like to play rough. I don't really like playing with dogs in general because I don't have if we're throwing the toy 2 times, 5 times, that's fine. 15 times is too much for me. And then they don't want to stop. And I'm like, see. But, we're helping each other grow, I guess. So for today, let's see what we got. Since the camera isn't face down, I gave this a few shuffles. And we're going to choose together. Okay, so this is how we'll do it. This half goes on the table. This half goes on the table. This half, or this one, goes on the table. This one goes on the table. These go on the table. This goes on the table. And we'll pick the middle two. Ooh! The Four of Wands and the Eight of Wands. The Demiurge and the Sharpshooter. This is interesting energy because the Demiurge is a person with an entity with the power to influence their own lives in very physical ways. And then the sharpshooter, that Eight of Wands energy, is about, it's Sagittarian, right? So it's about like setting your eyes on a target and going for it, but there is an element of expansion, right? Like if you're doing archery, you're probably not trying to, lasso a pillow to you, right? Shoot a rope out a pillow to you. So this is interesting. And together it's like it expands our ability to influence the world that we live in, but in a very energetic way. This is Venus in Aries. Hey, that's me. And Mercury in Sagittarius. So that's a Venus Mercury trine. Mercury in Sagittarius is an expansive mind. Venus in Aries is, it's Venus when what she wants doesn't come to her. And that's pretty new for Venus because I feel like most of what Venus wants, Venus is the Empress, right? Most of what Venus wants, she creates or she attracts. But when she sees something that she doesn't have, that she wants, that's where the need for her mind to expand lies. Or something. Bottom of the deck is the wish granted, the Nine of Cups. So we got the Nine of Cups, the Four of Wands, and the Eight of Wands. Let's see what's going on over here. Tell the story, please. Because our mind greatly influences the world we live in. The Chariot and the Three of Cups. It greatly influences the world we live in because it's like I said yesterday with the Page of Swords. It's like we have this physical experience of the world, and then we also have this mental experience. And the mental and physical experiences are so intertwined and interconnected that, like, intuition is a thing, and logic is a thing, right? Logic is like, this is what the world has shown me to be true or provably true. And then intuition is like, these are the things that can be in the world that have not yet shown me or have not yet proven to me that they can be true. And I don't know what this Eight of Wands is pointing towards. She's pointing towards the future. Last time I saw the Eight of Wands, she was pointing towards the Three of Pentacles, which is a collaborative effort. And I think I still like that because, so with the Four of Wands, it's a card of celebration. But in this deck, or with the title, the Demiurge, it's a feeling of like the things that we can do ourselves to influence our own lives. And with the Eight of Wands being a card of celerity, of acceleration, of speeding up, it's like if we want to make this thing go faster, we have to abide by the laws of the universe, abide by the laws of physics, the laws of the land. Collaborative, it has to fit, right? If it fits, it comes in quicker. And then we have the wish granted at the bottom of the deck. I don't know. This is interesting. Let's see. All right, we'll do the same over here. We'll do it a little bit different this time, though. We'll take these. Oh, 3 cards, 4 cards. Let's do it. Bottom of the deck over here is the Three of Swords. So we have the Star, the Fool, the Father of Swords, and the World. These are such powerful cards coming out today. So with the star card, again, the star is the space of things that we wish for, things that we hope for, things that we want, but things that we don't view ourselves of as capable of achieving more often than not. When we're wishing on stars, we're Pinocchios wishing to be a real boy, right? It's something that we kind of sort of view as impossible. This is a prayer, and this is going to come out closest to the Three of Swords. And so, under the Three of Swords is the Five of Wands, and we've been seeing her lately. And the Ace of Wands wants to show its face. And between the Five of Wands and the Ace of Wands is the Eight of Wands again. So, confirmation that I'm not just pulling cards. Um, but it's like once we can get that focus, once we, this is a need to be open to the voice of the universe, to the voice of spirit, right? There's a lot of things that we don't understand as humans because we don't have the capacity or the sight to understand or see. But the divine does, and it will literally lead us right to where we want to go and where we need to go. And with the Ace of Wands here, it's connected to a space of passion. Like it's connected to something that we want. Like I feel like man will tell you, sacrifice your happiness for success. And the divine is like, ¿por qué no los dos? Like you can have your happiness and success. In fact, following your happiness has the opportunity to make you more successful because the frequency of vibration is fairly high and it's harder to access when you're in this space of not doing things that you like to do. At least a little bit. Because not like when you're doing something that you're passionate about, you're engaged, you're present, you vibe a little higher, right? What time is it? I gotta keep my eye on the clock. Okay. So here we have this Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck, and we're starting with the star. And at the bottom of this deck again, ooh, I like this. Don't like that, but we'll pull it up. Okay, work. Majors, right? Okay, so at the bottoms of the decks, we have this Three of Swords, and we have the Nine of Cups. This is everything we experienced in the past. And you see the darkness around that heart. But again, with the red string in this deck, it's about fate. It was fated to happen, but we're not fated to stay here. And so we begin to wish for things that we've never experienced. We begin to wish for things. We begin to wish for an escape from this energy. And behind this Nine of Cups is the Chancellor and the Demon, Justice and the Devil. This is that I'm tired of playing your games. I don't like your games. I don't like your rules. They're unfair. I never win. Like I want to win. I want to be happy. I want to be free because this stuff it's for the birds. Now here's the South Node and his horns, and the Two of Pentacles came out with the South Node world and the North Node world. So now we can assume that the sharpshooter is shooting for the North Node world, right? And I guess that's very sharpshooter energy because we're asking for a world that we've never experienced, that, for things that we've never seen. So we're grounded in this world, in this solar system, looking up at the heavens for another. And behind this devil card is the sun, is the warrior. So it's like we know it's there, but we try to find it in things that the devil tells us will give it to us, and it's like nothing gives it to us. And the devil isn't necessarily even like the devil, it's just earth, the world that we lived in, the world the way we were the world the way we were conditioned to see it and to live in it and to view it and to experience, because if that's what we think, that's going to be our experience. And so something in us is like, this can't be all there is. I need more because this sucks with two capital S's and a in the middle. Sorry. So then here's the Fool. Here's the part where we take our own journey. We start our spiritual journey. We go through our awakening. We do this and we do that to get into the mode of an expanded mind. We come across things like the law of attraction and manifestation and stuff like that. We start to experience that the frequency that we embody has an effect on our experience, right? The things that we think about and the way that we think about the things that we think about influences and impacts our experience. And so now we're thinking like we know everything. We thinking we've done it all. Like all I got to do is master my mind, Father of Swords, master of the mind, right? And I'll be good. And it's not that that's necessarily untrue, but it's just now it's time to kick it up a notch. It's time to take it even further, right? Because this Father of Swords, yeah, that's what this is. This Father of Swords with this World card, it's like he's conquered more or less that old world energy, that devil energy. But we're coming into a new world. We're starting a new cycle. This Father of Swords will start his journey over again with the Ace of Swords when he begins to see that the world that he's coming into, it's similar to the one that he's leaving, but it's also very different in some ways. And so he'll make his journey through the Suit of Swords again to relearn and to elevate his understanding. And if he doesn't, he'll be going into a new world with an old understanding, probably frustrated because things don't work like they used to. But the rules of the game have changed, right? Because you wished, oops, well, we picked up justice too. You wished for a space where this wouldn't always be the case, right? You mastered a world where this is a lot more prevalent than what it is. But in this new space, again, because this was fated to happen, these threads, they'll unravel. And these three swords that were once intertwined will stand apart. And when they stand apart, we can see all the things that flow in between. Because right now they're so tied up together that like we can't tell really in the middle, we can't tell anything from anything. But when you pull them apart, it's like it increases your understanding. Take them as they resonate. Y'all know these things get like that, whatever, sometimes. And we're coming into that world of justice that we wished for. The world of justice is going to be different than the world that we left. And it's going to be important. Like, forgiveness came out so much yesterday on the Legacy channel. And releasing regret and worry and stuff like that. And I really feel like all of that is clarifying. Yeah, because then there's another confirmation. We see the world, and in this deck, the Four of Wands takes that Crowley wheel shape. See, in our world, in our mind, this is a complete understanding of how the world works. You know, law of attraction, manifestation, think happy thoughts, and eventually you'll get it. And we thought had it all figured out, but on the SKT, we can see that that's just the Four of Wands. Like that's the beginning. But that's like there's so much more outside of the world that you know. Enter the Sharpshooter. And when you play by these rules, it really speeds things up. But again, it's all about collaboration. It's not just about what can happen to benefit you and what can further you. It's a little bit more collective than that. But also at the same time, it is still your life. But again, like if you're purely focused on self, it'll slow down. Or it won't slow down. It'll probably it'll feel like it's slower because you're in a space where things can be quicker than there used to be. So the speed may be about the same as it is now. It'll just feel slower because other things are so much quicker. But that's what the collective manifested, right? People talk about, oh, like world peace and ending world hunger. Well, maybe it'll actually happen one of these days. But world peace means that you can't be so quick to go out and just take stuff from people because you want it. Ending world hunger might mean that you gotta give some food away for free sometimes, right? So let's put these away. That was interesting. I feel like, yeah, I mean, it kind of sort of is what it is. It was interesting to me, though. I mean, the Nine of Cups, the Four of Wands, and the Eight of Wands, with the Star card, the Fool, the Father of Swords, in the world. But again, that world is just up until the Four of Wands. When you're in the space of, you know, we're moving into a collective space, basically. I mean, people have been saying for a while, self-service to self, service to others. And if you're all about self-service, then that's energy, like the time of self-service has passed, right? That's what we're in right now. That's what we're coming out of because it doesn't work. So that's a whole bunch of cards. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it today. I'll run through them, but we ain't reading them. Well. So we have the Son of Swords, the Devil, the Daughter of Cups, the Eight of Swords, the Three of Wands, and then the High Priestess. To me, with the who is this? Oh, the Mother of Wands at the bottom. And with the Page of Swords sitting at the bottom of the deck with the Moon card and the Son of Wands behind her. And then here's the Mother of Wands. I feel like this is that, like, in this old world, we were stunted mentally and emotionally. We mentally got a little further than we got emotionally, but that's because the heart was closed, right? It's like the heart, the collective heart, the greater heart was closed. We were stunted mentally and emotionally. Mentally, we could be sons, but we would never make it truly to kings or queens because we don't really know how things work, right? There was a system of following systems of thought, and you subscribe to whatever other people thought before you, and what their thoughts are your thoughts. But it's like we're coming into the space where we get our own thoughts, right? We discover connection for ourselves instead of what other people say. And there was almost this unbreakable prison with the Eight of Swords. That's the system of thought that kept us trapped, the one that we subscribed to, the ones that we would follow, hoping to break it. But Three of Wands, in this deck in particular, your escape, your salvation is something that you see of your own. And it's like the High Priestess is whispering to you through this crack in the jail cell, trying to tell you how to get out of it for real. But I mean, if you don't listen to her, you probably just think she's like, that won't work. I'm crazy. I'm delirious. Stockholm syndrome. And then there's the Father of Swords again. Like, and the Father of Swords is like, no, like, you know, it is actually worth listening to. Because a true Father of Swords, like a real King of Swords energy, is not as cold and analytical as we think it is. Because a true Father of Swords, he's intelligent, he's strategic, right? He would understand the value of intuition because he knows that sometimes it's right. And so if you bring intuition, if you bring emotions to the Father of Swords, to a real Father of Swords, he won't just dismiss it because he knows strategically sometimes it's right. Sometimes you can feel things that you just don't know. Sometimes you can know things that you don't have a way or a reason to know, but that's valid and that's important. And sometimes that saves people, right? If you're like, oh, like we could go in and we could win the battle by doing this. And then something's like, hold up, wait, this seems like it's too easy. It's a trap. I'm like, no, it's not a trap. They're not that smart. They wouldn't think of this. And then you walk right into a trap and you're like, man, we should have listened to that dude who told us it was a trap. Chariot at the bottom of the deck with the Mother of Wands. I didn't talk about her, but no, now she's at the bottom. Last time we saw her, it was about protecting that, right? Those are it's Shugo-chara. I talked about it. Those are our dreams. Those are our dreams. Dreams of the future, dreams of who we want to be, who we wish we could be. Dream eggs, I think that's what they're called. And in the dream egg lies basically the persona, the personality, the character that is who we wish to be. And there are people in that show that have the ability to take on their dreams and to use that basically to fight the system that is going around stealing other people's dreams. And I talked about that because I had a dream with the girl who had the athletic type and then the chef type, and she stopped going after the chef type. And I was like, there's this sweetness that we experience that we deny ourselves because we get lost in the sweetness. And we know that life is bitter and we know that it's sour and we know that it's right. It's like, so it's not going to be sweet all the time, but it's like, hey, like if you're the chef girl and you want something sweet, cook up something sweet, create something sweet. Hello? You don't have to eat what everyone else is providing for you. Right? But the devil will make you think that you do have to. And again, the devil doesn't necessarily have to be the devil. I mean, it is, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's that Hierophant energy. Like the devil is the shadow of the Hierophant. Or it's the shadow that the Hierophant convinces you of. Right? Okay, let's go. Let's go. 9:08. This alarm is going to go off in like 2 minutes. So this will be our final card right here. Ooh, Father of Wands. I love it. We just saw the Mother of Wands. Here's the Father of Wands, right? The Father of Wands is the person who embodies their dreams. We see that lightning bolt. We saw that same lightning bolt on the Eight of Wands, right? Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Swords. So yeah, this is us standing in the power of our birthright. This is us when we've gotten that sword back from this sleeping whatever. But this thing, we view it as something that has stolen our sword, but it's the guardian of it. It was entrusted to that thing because you can't have babies around here with AK-47s or toddlers or even teenagers. Well, right? Because they don't yet understand the impact of what they do. And it's like if you couldn't even exist in the South Node world with your ability, what makes you think it'll work in the North Node world? It's too seamless for selfishness. It's like things would fall apart. Because there is a collective force, believe it or not, that holds everything together in order for there to be so many overlaps of the commonly experienced things on the plane of reality, what's real for everybody. But if everyone is in their own reality, there's no cohesion that holds everything together. So it manifests more chaos when we're all acting in our self-interest and things fall apart. There's no unity, there's no harmony, there's no cohesion. It's a world that tears itself apart. Creates systems designed to tear the world apart because we're all acting in our own self-interest. And that's when we start fighting over limited resources and stuff like that when they don't have to be. Like, are we really still going to war over gas when like we have greener technologies over oil? Right? Like, how long have we really had access to greener technologies? And if we would have poured money into it, into expanding on it, how many lives could have been saved? But there's so much money in oil right now. It doesn't make sense. Why would we sacrifice all that money? We'd rather take the lives and get the money. Sorry, I didn't read the I Ching. I'll read that. So, Page of Swords. Oh, we saw her at the beginning, and we saw the Daughter of Swords at the bottom of the deck. It's new thought. Bottom of the deck is the Archangel of Mysteries. The Archangel of Mysteries is the one. We're in the world of shadow. She's the one whispering to us, trying to navigate us towards the world of light. And she sends this Page of Swords, which is just this thought, this idea, a series of ideas, the ability to recognize and analyze our thoughts and ideas. Her message is the memory keeper. The memory keeper. Oh wow. Well, girl, I don't know. I don't know how old that memory is because I don't think things have been that peaceful for a while down here. But here we see again the baby dragon and the baby phoenix. It's like remembering the truth of divine feminine, divine masculine energy, remembering what those energies were before they were twisted down here, before they were. It's like it reminds me of this one episode of Doctor Who. There's this alien, and they're trying to like destroy the Earth and then sell it, and she is bad, but we discover that like she's the product of her environment and she's one person in a family, and eventually she comes into the space of like wanting to not do what it was that she was doing, but she was already conditioned. It's like she really wanted to change, but it was too hard for her, and so she ended up getting an opportunity to start over. She was made a baby again. And it kind of, it's like we're not like, well, okay, well, in this incarnation, right, if you take another one and then you start over as a baby again, then you're a baby, congratulations. But there is this energy of cutting out the things that have affected us since we were born, and that's very intense shadow work. But it's also just recognizing that like, hey, if this is something that has been instilled and ingrained on me in me, it's not mine. And the truth of who I am lies beneath all of that. Almost choked and strangled, never really given the opportunity to come into the fullness of who and what it is. But now, we get the opportunity to go back and explore it. And again, we have the Archangel of Mysteries, which is the King of Pentacles, but the Archangel, oh, there it is. Mysteries coming to woman. You ain't even text me. Hello. I need to. Oh, I should have texted her like half an hour ago. She gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not even ready." All right, this is where it ends. Um, Going back to the beginning, growing into who we really are, letting the old programming fade away, and the memory keeper. It's interesting that it's the memory keeper because our soul remembers. Our soul knows. I mean, it's our soul. Our soul, like the fire of your soul, is the one thing that will never forget what it is. It's the one part of you that will always be what it is. You just got to find it. It gets buried deep beneath the programming. It gets buried deep beneath everything else, right? And that's why we take these hermit journeys to go find it, to recover it, to live in it, to be it. And we have to breathe life into it, right? We got to live from that space to discover what it is. It's something that we kind of sort of continuously do, right? Because if you think about it, like you're always who you are now, right? More or less. So it would be the same. All right. I can't even remember what I just talked about for once. Oh, let me read the I Ching real quick because I said I would do that. Let me send this text though. Make sure she up. I'm so glad I found those sweatpants yesterday because it's getting cold. It's getting cold. It's cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. 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 Ba-boo-boo-boo. This is Double Thunder. The Four of Wands and the Eight of Wands is Double Thunder. So let's read Double Thunder real quick. Double Thunder. I don't think I've ever had this before. Oops. Oops. Oh yeah, I have. Double Thunder is 51. Sharp turn. Sharp turn. Everything you thought you knew. Don't unlearn all of it. Allow that knowing and understanding to evolve, right? It's like I've talked about it before, but like when you're in elementary school, they're like, hey, you can't subtract bigger numbers from smaller numbers. And then by the end of elementary school, you learn about negative numbers. Or was that middle school? It might be middle school. I learned about it in elementary school because my mom had an algebra book. So I learned algebra from the algebra book. And I was like, it blew my mind. When I discovered negative numbers, I was like, what? Everything they teach us is a lie? You can subtract bigger numbers. You get -2. 3 minus 5 is -2. What? We're shifting to the other side of the polarity. But what did I say the number was? 51. But if you continue to believe that, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, you'll never do it. But it's like, girl, you can. You can. Once you get up a few grades, you learn that you can do a whole bunch of stuff that they told you couldn't do. And honestly, math is just a series of lies. And it's not necessarily lies, but it's a series of like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And then, a few years later, okay, now we're going to start doing this. Now we're going to start doing this. Now we're going to start doing this. And I'm like, we doing all the stuff you told us that we couldn't do. And it's like, well, you got to understand the basics before you get to something more advanced. And you're not ready for this yet. So stick to the basics. You build your knowledge, you build your understanding. But again, just don't be so fixed. Unexpected sharp turn, a great thunderstorm. The shock of fate has hit you. Fate, speaking of those red threads around the swords, right? Circumstances seem beyond your control. In the wake of cataclysm, your will is weakened. You cannot allow that to happen. While you cannot control the circumstances, you can control your mental response. Learn to maintain your composure in the face of cataclysm. Do not be terrified by the thunder and lightning. The outcome is not as bad as you dreaded. Regain your inner strength, reclaim your inner fire. You must persist onward to your endeavor in spite of blows. In time, you will fully recover what you have lost. It is still auspicious to go forth on your endeavor. And it reminds me of the tower. But what the tower is doing, the tower is liberating your light. The tower is this structure that devil energy and hierophant energy, it's like with the hierophant being the light and the devil being the shadow, but like devil energy and hierophant energy are literally the same because devils are taught to you by the hierophant energy, are they not? More often than not. If we're talking about structured, organized religion, it comes with its own shadow projected into the energy of the devil. So here's this hierophant devil structure, this well-crafted picture, and not to say it's wrong, of shadow and light that paints this picture. And then here comes the divine striking this tower that's been constructed, liberating your light, trying to get you to see that there's more outside of this system that you live in. And it's almost like if we're going back to the bolt of lightning that's striking the ashes of the phoenix at the bottom of the ocean, it's almost like those bolts of lightning. Oh, the bolt of lightning in the Eight of Wands that we saw behind the Father of Wands. It's trying to find you. And it's trying to ignite you, and it's trying to get you to like rise up and exit the tower yourself because it can't pull you out of the tower. But it can poke these holes in the illusion that you surround yourself with, the illusion that you're surrounded by, and that you continue to surround yourself with, because it's like once it's taught to you, you continue to build it as you live. And you always see it there, even when it isn't necessarily. But that's why these towers happen to hopefully wake you up and be like, hey, like, what are you doing? Wake up. Hey, wake up. Hey, you don't have to live like this. You don't have to do this. Hello. Like, and again, high refined energy in itself is not bad, but it's so rigid sometimes that it doesn't really allow for us to connect to the truth of who we are, right? We're made in the image of God. We all have that divine spark within us, but more often than not, it's not about connecting to that divine spark within us. It's not about reconnecting with the God, the peace of God that lives inside of us, with the peace of the all that we are. It's about finding it outside of ourselves. And it's like everything that is written to get you to find it inside yourself, but you continue to look outside because the book is outside, the knowledge is outside, the pastor, the preacher, the informed ones are outside, the ones who know more are outside. And it's almost, it reminds me of the age of Pisces, right? And how it wasn't necessarily designed to be that way, but it's just what happened because humanity was what it was. Like, how else do you tell people to, hey, look inside of you? And it's like, if I tell you to look inside and you're listening to me instead of looking inside, I'm like, I don't know how else to get you inside. Like, you're asking me for guidance to get you where you want to go. And I'm trying to tell you, but you're valuing the guidance that I'm giving you more than you're valuing going to get it for yourself. I don't know. But that's what I got. I got to go. Okay, bye. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make it all better.